Good morning, everybody. Boy, I've had quite the last couple of days. So, the long and the short of it is, Michael had a stroke last night. Well, not last night, the night before, the day before. 2 days ago, Michael had a stroke. So I'll give you the bare basics. I didn't notice anything at all was wrong. He had just gotten out of work. He picked me up at Ocean State Job Lot. We went shopping for a cage for my Nibblings hermit crab, which he wants to get for his birthday. We got home, we crashed on the couch, took a nap. Michael got up, started making dinner, and he started doing some other stuff. He moved the dryer out of the laundry room to get ready to put wallpaper up. And he had started making dinner on the grill, and then last time I saw him standing upright, he walked outside through the front door. I didn't see anything wrong. I didn't notice anything. But a little bit of time went by, and I went to check on dinner. I noticed that the grill was starting to smoke up a bit because the chicken hadn't been turned. I also noticed that the back porch may not be the best place for the grill, but I'm not going to get into that right now. So I go outside to look for him, thinking he was doing some yard work, and I saw him on the ground underneath the shrubbery, flat on the ground. I ran over to him. His face was, the left side of his face was slanted, and he was not really, I couldn't get him up. I couldn't get him to stand or sit up. I could not move him very well. So I called his niece first, who is his emergency contact. And the only reason I called her first is because in the beginning, I asked him, listen, we need a plan. If something it was after his last heart attack that I said, listen, we need a plan so that if something happens, I know what to do, because I'm not good at doing things on the fly unless I know all the facts and all the information. And he said, if anything happens, just call Jody. So I called Jody. And Jody had me call 911, which is what I should have done first. And I had it in the back of my mind that that's what I should have done first. But I stuck with the plan that we had set. So I called 911, and the ambulance arrived, and the EMTs immediately said stroke. Like everybody and literally everyone and their uncle knew it was stroke. His other niece showed up. She's a nurse. She's in the health trade, or she's in the health professions as well. She knows what a stroke victim looks like. She and her sister both said that my uncle needs to go to the hospital. So, they loaded him onto the ambulance, and I rode with them to Albany. Now, the driver said that they were trying to get a flight. So normally if you're going from Bennington to Albany, you fly in a helicopter. But because of the storm conditions, a helicopter just wasn't an option. There wasn't a huge storm last night, but there were some weather conditions that made flying and landing impossible. So we ended up having to drive all the way through to Albany. Meanwhile, here I am mentally going through every detail of what happened, thinking, and I think everybody goes through this. You always replay the event thinking, I should have done something differently. I could have done this differently. This is what I should have done first. But everyone is also telling me that you acted quickly. It hadn't been more than 20 minutes from when I last saw him to when I saw him on the ground. So we were able to get him help in a very crucial amount, in a very critical amount of time. We were able to get him the help he needed. And when we got to Albany, he was a candidate for a certain procedure, and the only word I remember from the procedure is thrombic. What I know of the procedure is that it involves suctioning. There's a hole, they put a hole in the groin and they put a thing all the way up into your brain, which cannot be the shortest route. I don't know who came up with this procedure, but somehow it had to start with, I really wish I could put a hole in somebody's groin and get to their brain from there. But so they did this thing. They were able to suction. There was a clot in his brain. They were able to suction it out. And the thing is, he was mostly, although he was slurring, and there were periods of time when he was confused, he was mostly coherent the whole time. He was able to respond to questions. He knew his name. He knew the date. He knew where he was. He knew what year it was. He recognized everybody who showed up. I mean, so it's like the stroke didn't damage his brain straight away, and he wasn't under long enough to do any significant damage. And when we got to the hospital, I stayed with him in the PACU. And Albany Medical has its faults, but their doctors really are, the doctors and nurses who work there really are amazing. And the doctor I met, and I'm only mentioning her name because she was a rock star that night, Dr. Paul, was the one who did the procedure on Michael, and she could not have been more helpful. She was amazing. Every doctor was trying to explain everything to me, and I was trying like hell to process it, but so much of the jargon, so much of it just slipped. It did not land up here. And it's not that I wasn't paying attention. It's not that I wasn't listening. It's that I was trying to process all this medical jargon and all this, like I didn't know what a PACU was. That's the patient anesthesia care unit. I mean, I know what the emergency room is. I know recovery rooms, things like that. But once you get into the technical terminology, I'm all bums. So it was a pretty long night. That first night, I spent a lot of time in waiting rooms, waiting for somebody to tell me something or waiting for somebody to call me. I finally had to call the nurses station to find out where Michael was at one point, and they let me in. I stayed with him the night in the PACU. They brought me a recliner, which is not built for comfort, and they gave me a pillow, which is sort of like, the pillow was not comfortable. If you've ever had a hospital pillow, you know what I'm talking about. It's these really barely thin suggestions of fluff and a covering. You have to fold it over to make it even partially comfortable to rest your head on. But they gave me some warm blankets, which were nice and hot. And, I spent the night kind of just waking up every hour. So the nurse came around every hour to screen Michael, asking him the same questions. What's your name? What's your date of birth? What year is it? Where are you? How did you get here? And except for one or two worrying responses, he got 99% of the questions right, and he was steadily improving as the time went on. So I think a huge part of, like, there was one point where he's asked how he wound up here, and he kind of rambled a bit and said something about his brother and sister. And then that was the only time that happened. And I'm just chalking that up to exhaustion. I'm chalking that up to he was tired. And, we all have those moments when we wake up and we're not 100% with us or with the world. He was having some very obvious trouble with his hands. For a little while, he couldn't keep his left arm up, but steadily he was getting the movement in his left arm back. Yesterday, when he talked to his niece on the phone, he was struggling to position the phone so he could FaceTime her, but he managed it. I'm told that this morning, all right, he managed to do it. And I think the biggest thing for him is going to be his motivation. He's a fighter. Michael is a fighter. He's very stubborn. It's a huge part of why it's hard to keep him on any diet we've both got to make health changes. That's the big thing. Since I've been married to him, he's already had a major heart attack, and we've really got to, I know we've got to buckle down, and I also have to step up my game as well. Like, I've got to learn to do so many things I've never done before. We still have stuff to do around this house, and he's been doing a lot of the DIY projects because he knows what he's doing. But I'm going to have him walk me through some things, and I'm going to learn to do some things for the first time. And it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a pain in the ass. He's not the best at teaching me to do things. But I'm hoping that he'll at least be patient with me and not snap at me when I don't appear to pick something up fast enough. I love him to bits. It's just sometimes, I guess this is what marriage is. This is what marriage is. This is what living with somebody is. It's all this stuff. It is going to be a bit stressful because while he's out of work, now I know he has insurance. So the medical bills will be able to meet. We'll be able to. There's going to be medical bills. There's going to be bills. You can't get around it. I got to switch out my razor blade. I'm trying not to overthink everything, but you really can't overthink this. You gotta be prepared for it, and you've got to be ready for the difficulties. And I've just barely started putting money away. hang on, I'm just trying to find my razors. Where did I put them? Oh, they're right behind me. I mean, I've just barely started putting money away, and I'm nowhere near the point where I could make a dent in any significant bills. You know, right now with both of us working, we had a chance to cover everything and make things work. I tried to start a GoFundMe yesterday to try to get some help with the bills, but then I really don't want to get into why I had to take it down. The major reason is Michael asked me to take it down, but the other major reason is there are certain people in my family who don't understand what it's like for other people to struggle financially. Okay, like every time somebody comes onto this YouTube channel, every time somebody comes onto my video and says, all you have to do is this. I've said this before, how people only do that when they have no perspective, like they're from a place of comfort and ignorance. Now, here's my thing. You should never misuse GoFundMe. You should never take advantage of the kindness and generosity of others. Absolutely not. But if I start a GoFundMe that says, help with the expenses associated with Michael's recovery, the expenses, you're not just talking about the expenses at the hospital. You're not just talking about the bills for the hospital. That could include a wide range of expenses, including the bills you have to pay normally. Like if he was responsible for one set of bills and now he can't pay them, I've got to take that responsibility. You know, we've split the bills, but now I've got to figure out a way to pay those bills, or we're going to be terribly behind at worst. And at best, we're going to lose our house. Or no, at worst, we're going to lose our house or lose the car. You know, as is, he can't drive, but we still got to pay for that car. Like, it's still a car. I don't drive. Anyway, my point is, if you're using the money, like if you start a GoFundMe that says, help with the expenses associated with a medical recovery, and you use that money towards things that, like, because obviously he's not going to recover very well if we lose our home. He's not going to recover very well if I can't find a way to get him to his physical therapy appointments, which he's going to need. And there's only so much I can do. Like, I'm going to need people to come and help me do stuff as far as his care goes. And that's all going to cost money. And so starting a GoFundMe for that really should not be a huge deal. It's the bare minimum. I don't even expect to get the target amount, but every little bit will help. And I know there are people that will help if they have the opportunity. I've put money in those things. I've sent money to people, you know, and the thing is, unfortunately, it was my mistake because I reached out to people and asked them their opinion. I reached out to the right people and asked them what they thought. And some people were a certain person was reluctant to do anything, reluctant for me to do this because they were afraid that it would seem like I was misusing the money if I didn't have the exact dollar number down. But it's kind of ridiculous to have an exact dollar amount down because, again, nobody knows the exact, like, even if I have an itemized bill from the hospital, again, there's other bills, there's other expenses to consider, there are other things. And I was just trying to get ahead of all that. If I started it now, there's a good chance that we'd be able to build up a cushion against those expenses. But this person who railed the most, they have a high-paying job. They've got a high-paying job. And stop getting on me about getting a better job. I can't just they went to college and they learned how to do that job. I do not have the time or the money to learn a skill, then to take the time needed to get a job where that skill applies and hope that that job pays enough. That is a magical solution. I don't want to hear it. But the more to the point, when people have those jobs, when people are in those positions, it's really hard for them to know what it's like for people on this end of the spectrum who do not have really, like, look, I don't judge anybody for their level of success, but if you have enough money to afford a boat, you really do not have any grounds to criticize how I try to raise funds to pay for medical bills. I'm rambling at this point and I'm getting a little upset because I'm just sort of trying like hell to not stress out and not overthink. But here's the thing. I'm not overthinking. I'm not really overthinking in this instance. I'm doing the exact amount of thinking I need to do to try to figure this out. Sorry. I'm really sorry. This is what happens when a loved one goes to the hospital. I have to believe that everybody goes through this. So here I go. I'm asking for assistance. If you've made it to this part of the video, or if you see in the description below, I'm going to put my Cash App and my Venmo because I can't think of a way to start the GoFundMe without alerting everybody. I can't think of a way to start the GoFundMe without triggering an argument with the family. And even though I know it might be a good idea, if I trigger an argument with them, it could make Michael upset, and that could make his recovery harder. So I have to really tiptoe on eggshells around this one. So call it e-begging if you want. I really don't care. If you can, and if you are willing, my Cash App and my Venmo are down below. Please consider any amount at all. Any amount at all. I'm also on Patreon. And I know I said I would only use my Patreon dollars towards benefiting the channel. But if you're comfortable donating through Patreon, that would definitely help things in the long run. Because even $2 a month, even even $2 a month, that's something. That is a source of income coming in. And I'm still working at the Dollar General, so it's not. Yeah, Dollar General. That's my big secret. I work at Dollar General. I'm still working there, so it's not like I'm dependent on donations. Like, I have a source of income, but I need to supplement it. And right now, trying to get unemployment is a pain in the ass. I don't know what Michael's going to have to do to get disability. I know that his work is going to work with him, and he works at a nursing home, so that'll probably be really good. But I need to ask for help. I'm not saying you have to do it, and I'm not going to guilt anybody for not being able to or not willing to do it. I'm just asking. And yes, like I said, call it e-begging if you want. I really don't care. Right now, I'm over a barrel, and this is what being over a barrel is like. And this is what I need. That is what I'm asking for. I'm not asking for advice. Please don't give me advice. I don't want advice, okay? I've got plenty of people to ask for advice. I have plenty of my own family and friends to ask for advice. So I don't need random strangers giving me advice. I don't. I really don't. And don't think you're going to be cute. Don't be cute by saying, here's some unsolicited advice, even though I know you didn't want it, but here's advice anyway. Stop. Just stop. If you are able and willing to contribute something that financially, that would be great. If you can share this video with people who might be willing to help me out, that'd be even better. That's what I'm asking for. And that's all right. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for hearing me rant. We are going to figure out a way through this one way or the other. Michael and I are both survivors. We are going to figure things out. I would not ask for help if I wasn't desperate. I'm not going to misuse the funds. I will make sure to tell everybody what I'm doing with them, even if it's paying the bills, even if it's paying for his expenses. This is not an easy thing for me to ask for. It really isn't. But there it is. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great day. Be safe. Treat each other with dignity and respect.